Now, I was thinking about the fact that I would like to see our church and other churches like us, friends of ours in our movement, I would like to see us evangelize the entire world in our lifetime. That is the vision that I have, and I preached a whole sermon where I laid out how that actually is humanly possible in our lifetime, a step-by-step plan, a strategy to evangelize the whole world. And that strategy can work and will work if we do the work. But a question that sometimes people ask is, well, what about these countries where it's illegal to preach the gospel? You know, we talked about it this morning, how you can't go into these Muslim countries and start preaching the gospel to Muslims or they'll kill you in a lot of these places. Or the people that convert, they'll get killed. You know, or people would ask, hey, how do we get into North Korea and get the gospel to North Korea? But let me ask you this, how are you doing on South Korea? How are we doing on South Korea? You know, everybody wants to talk about getting the gospel to North Korea. How's South Korea coming along? Because I believe this from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. You mark my words. If we evangelize every country in the world where it is legal and open to do so, I promise you we will not even have to wait one day to get into these closed countries. God won't even make us wait one day. I have zero doubt about that. I mean, if we're tearing it up and God just sees us knocking every door in this country, every door in this, we got churches planted all over. We're evangelizing this country, that country. And when we start running out of countries, you don't think God's going to just bust those doors wide open before we even finish the last country we can do. But you know what? Instead, we just want to talk about the countries we can't get into. You know why? Because that appeals to the lazy man. To just, oh, it's such a shame we can't get into this Muslim country. Well, it's funny because we can march into Dearborn and go soul winning. We've done it. Oh, man, you know, it's just a shame we can't get into North Korea. Well, you know what? You can march right into South Korea and go soul winning all you want. You can go soul winning, S-E-O-U-L. Amen? And so, you know, you can go soul winning in all the good places that are open and legal and safe. And look, it's common sense missions, folks. You start with the places that are easy, that speak our language, that are receptive, that are legal, that are safe, that are wide open. Because you know what? God will open the other doors. But you want God to open doors way down the hall. You know, you got 20 steps till then. You know, do the work that God has given you right now, and then we'll talk. And then we'll talk. Then we'll strategize the next step. You know, you got countries all over the Caribbean and in Central and South America, and especially places that speak English, like Guyana, like Belize, like Jamaica, like all these island countries of the Caribbean. And you know what? Those places are receptive to the gospel, and they're wide open. It's totally legal to march in there and do soul winning and win people to Christ. You know, can we at least knock those out? I mean, some of these countries only have like 1 million people in them or a couple 100,000 people. Why don't we get that done? Why don't we finish those places and get those done? And then we could go to Africa where there are places that are wide open to the gospel, that are ready to hear us, and go knock all those out, places where it's receptive. Then we could go to the Philippines and get people saved, start church. I mean, there's so many places and so many opportunities that are white unto harvest. I promise you that if we would be faithful, God would say, oh, you guys need a little more territory? Yeah, let me enlarge your coasts. Let me open this up for you. Oh, you guys are starting to be on top of each other. You know, now that there's 300 of these zealous soul-winning churches or 500 of these zealous soul-winning churches that are taking missions trips every couple months, yeah, you guys are starting to just be on top of each other and running out of places to go. Here, let me open up North Korea. Here, let me open up countries in the Middle East. Let's open up this place or that place. It will happen. It's not that it might happen, it will happen. Why? Because that's what God always does. God always gives you more work than you'll ever do. You're not going to be like waiting on God, like, okay, God, who do we give the gospel to? We've knocked every door. We've evangelized everybody so much. And you told us to go to all nations, and there's like 50 nations where it's illegal. You know, what's the deal? They're not letting us in. He'll start opening them up. That's the answer. That's the key. So instead of thinking about what you can't do what you can do.